Paris has always been known for its charming streets, delicious cuisine, and rich cultural heritage. But in recent years, a darker side had emerged as rumors of mysterious disappearances and strange sightings spread. It was said that a street performer dressed as the Pied Piper had been seen leading children away from their homes, never to be seen again. At first, many dismissed the stories as mere superstition. But as the disappearances continued, the townspeople grew increasingly fearful, and rumors of a curse on the town began to circulate. One day, a group of parents who had lost their children to the Pied Piper decided to take matters into their own hands. They gathered in the town square, armed with flashlights and cell phones, determined to track down the mysterious figure and save their children. As they searched the dark alleys and deserted streets, they heard the faint sound of music in the distance. Following the sound, they soon came upon a dark figure dressed in a tattered cloak, playing a haunting melody on a wooden flute.
"Stop!"
shouted one of the parents.
"What have you done to our children?"
The rat-catcher turned to face them, his eyes gleaming in the moonlight.
"Your children are safe,"
he said, his voice echoing through the empty streets.
"but they will not return until the city fulfills its end of the bargain."
"What bargain?"
asked another parent. The rat-catcher's lips curled into a sinister smile.
"The deal made many years ago when a town refused to pay me for my services. I swore to take my revenge, and now the time has come."
The parents were stunned. They had heard tales of a dispute between the town and the Pied Piper, but had never realized that the consequences could be so dire.
"What do you want?"
one of the parents asked, desperation creeping into his voice. The Pied Piper's eyes gleamed.
"I want what was promised to me, payment for my services. And I will not rest until I have it."
The parents huddled together, not knowing what to do. They knew they could not simply hand over their life savings to this mysterious figure, but they could not bear the thought of their children being lost forever. Suddenly, one of the parents had an idea.
"What if we used modern technology to outsmart the Pied Piper?"
he suggested.
"We could use drones and thermal imaging to track him down and capture him, then force him to release our children."
The other parents nodded, seeing the wisdom in his words. Together they set to work, using their cell phones to access the latest surveillance technology and mapping software. As they flew their drones through the streets of Paris, they quickly spotted the Pied Piper, still playing his flute and leading a group of children toward the outskirts of the city. Using their thermal imaging software, they were able to track his movements in the dark and followed him to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of the city. They cautiously approached the warehouse and peered through the windows to see the Pied Piper surrounded by dozens of children, all entranced by his music.
"We have to act quickly,"
whispered one of the parents.
"We'll use our cell phones to flash the brightest lights we can, then rush in and grab the children. The Pied Piper won't know what hit him."
The other parents nodded, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They waited until the Pied Piper was distracted by his music, and then they began to flash their lights, blinding and disorienting him. In the ensuing chaos, parents rushed into the warehouse, grabbed their children, and dragged them to safety. The Pied Piper tried to fight back, using his flute to summon rats and other vermin to his aid, but the parents were ready for him, armed with high-tech pest control devices and advanced sound-deadening technology. Eventually, they overpowered the rat-catcher, forcing him to release the children and swear never to harm the city again. As he slunk off into the darkness, the parents breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that their children were safe and that they had finally put an end to the curse that had haunted their town for so long. But even as they celebrated their victory, they knew they had learned an important lesson. They had realized that while modern technology could be a powerful tool, it was no substitute for courage, determination, and a willingness to stand up for what was right. As they hugged their children and looked out at the darkened streets of Paris, they knew their city would never be the same. But they also knew that they had faced and overcome their fears, and that was a victory worth celebrating. You listened to an urban fairy tale audio play produced by the virtual team of Colorvox. If you want more,